70% of engaged FPL managers are open to Bench Boost Game Week 1, and this is why. Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are well. We're going to show you a 15-man FPL Game Week 1 team with Bench Boost in mind in just a second, but I'm going to go through where people are at, show you a poll, but also the pros and cons of bench boosting. If you're enjoying the video or want to support the channel, please do hit that like button and subscribe as well. We've obviously got double chips this season, so bench boost early is now on people's radar. Now, with that in mind, as things stand, 30% have said they're definitely not doing it. This is 600 votes on Twitter. 33% are open to it, but they're not currently thinking they'll do it. But then 20% are saying they might do it, and another 20% are saying they're likely to do it. I think this is going to continue to gain momentum in pre-season. And this is why, right? So you won't waste transfers prepping for a bench boost if you go game week 1. And these are the main pros and cons. There are loads of pros and cons, but at the moment, the main advantages for me, there's 3. You won't waste transfers. And if you are prepping for it in game week 7 or game week 18, you will use transfers buying a sub goalkeeper or a third defender, a third defender on the bench. Like, it will be, you're using transfers on enablers on 4.5 million men. That doesn't sit well with me. Like, our transfers, one thing I've learned from last season, being able to roll up to 5 times is so precious. I didn't do it enough. If you're prepping for a bench boost, you end up spunking transfers, and I don't like it. Go game week 1 and you don't have to do that. I'm still torn. This is me giving you my thoughts. Another advantage is you have a slimmer squad post wildcard. So you invest more money in your 11 when your team value is higher. Start the season with 100 million. When you wildcard, whether that's game week 3 or game week 13, you're going to have more to spend in your 11 anyway, but you can go for a proper slim bench. You can go, I'm going to have a dead spot third sub because I haven't got a bench boost and I'll get a wild card at Christmas. Like, I think that's a good play too. But I also really like this. There will be more rotation when teams play in Europe. We've got more teams than ever before playing in Europe in the Premier League. Teams like Forest and Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, you're going to be worried about some rotation around Europe as their squads perhaps struggle to cope. If you bench boost in those weeks, you might have a surprise benching from a Forest player or an Aston Villa player. And obviously going into December, even more surprise benchings. Okay, they're the main advantages. It is worth noting a disadvantage is game week 1 also comes with benching dilemmas like players you don't expect to be benched like Barco and Nkunku. If you are bench boosting game week 1, you need to pick 100% now players. And that's what I'm going to be showing you in this squad. Give or take 1 or 2. There's no Nkunkus or Barcos in there that are 50-50 to start. You can't risk that if you're bench boosting game week 1. The other disadvantage is, could an early bench boost force your hand to lighten that squad or to free hit, to wildcard or free hit really early? And I think maybe it does, but again, I don't think that's the end of the world. So I'm looking forward to showing you that bench boost team, which I think is really exciting. But I just want to ask you guys for 30 seconds of your time, and that is to consider the fixtures. So the fixtures game week 1 to 3 are really important here. When we're looking at 1, 2, and 3, this is why, and this is from Fantasy Football Scout filtered on difficulty. If a bench boost does force an early wildcard, and you end up wildcarding in 4 because you've set up a great team that looks good in game week 1 and it carries you for a couple of weeks, but actually it's not great for the first 10, don't plan game week 1 up to the first 5 or 10 game weeks. Plan for the first, I've been doing 5, but if I'm bench boosting, I'll probably just look at 3. And look, I don't want to bookmark a wild card in game week 4, but there's every chance that could be played. So you're going to go early and target teams like Everton, Man City, Forest. Annoying that Sunderland and Burnley are top of the ticker. Chelsea with good fixtures and Villa too. Worth bearing that in mind. We'll see the team in just a second, but first, shout out to Manscaped who sponsored today's video. Now, loads of you have been telling me you're using Manscaped, and I've got 15% off on Manscaped throughout the website with code GIANNI. Now, I've been using Manscaped for some time. Closer shave is needed because I'm getting grey, guys. Look at my Babyliss trimmer and how it leaves my stubble compared to the Manscaped beard hedger. A much closer, tighter shave, which I think makes me look a little bit younger. And when you're in your late 30s, you want those little edges. I'm also using the Manscaped shampoo. People ask me about my hair all the time. I don't really use product, a little sprinkling of some powder, but shampoo is really important when styling hair as well. It's a brilliant website for male grooming. I also use down below, the lawnmower. The lawnmower is brilliant. It's got that little protector guard, but allows you to go over very wrinkly areas without worrying about cuts. Yeah, trust me. It's all very good. It's all very affordable and it's 15% off. Give it a go. Link in the description and in the comments as well, or scan the QR code. I'll leave that on screen for the remainder of the show. So let's talk defenders and first goalkeepers. If you're bench boosting, you could go 2 4.5s. I still think Raya is the best option. Well, if you're going for a bench boost or not, and Darlow is a 4 million option who should start for Leeds. Darlow over Meslier, unless Leeds go and sign a goalkeeper, of course. But if they don't, Darlow I think starts the season. He's 4 million, and Everton at home. That's a good bench boost. Chances Leeds back in the Premier League of a clean sheet are there. Now Raya, of course, Man United is a perfectly fine fixture nowadays as well. Let's talk about defenders though. You want nailed players. And at the moment, pre-season will tell us about a couple of these. Are they nailed? Gvardiol is the safest Man City defender. I had Aït-Nouri and I had Mateus Nunes in my first draft. But if I want absolutely no going to play, Gvardiol's your man. O'Brien as well, absolutely first choice right back. And Tarkowski might not even be fit for the game week 1. He could play centre-back where he's going to be mopping up recoveries. He's cheaper than Branthwaite and Tarkowski O'Brien. 4 million option, and you need a 4 million starter if you're bench boosting game week 1, because remember, you might not wildcard for 10 weeks. You don't want to have all 4.5, 5 million defenders. You need some bench fodder in future weeks. So who has a good game week 1 fixture but can be bench? Right? That's a big question. So straight away, I was like, oh, okay, I quite like that. I quite like that fixture for a new signing, and we don't know much about him, admittedly. Like we don't know much about the newly promoted teams, but when I look at certain fixtures in play, I'm like, oh, okay, do I want to go for a Sunderland player? Because West Ham game week 1, they could keep a clean sheet there. Now Sunderland have spent a little bit of money and they've got themselves a couple of new defenders. And in that, I think we've got ourselves a starting Sunderland defender. I don't know much about him, but I'm going by those in the know with Sunderland. And Ronaldo should be a starter at 4.0. Pre-season will tell us if he is. Clean sheet against West Ham on the opening day. Don't hate it. Same with Darlow, right? Newly promoted teams, opening day at home. Maybe they've got a chance against Everton and West Ham. I know you know what you're getting. And Brentford have Nottingham Forest have good early fixtures. When you look at the first 5 fixtures for Nottingham Forest, I can see a clean sheet in up to 3 of them. I think the problems for Forest come when European football starts again. But early on, I'm backing Forest for clean sheets, and Aina cheaper than the centre-backs, same as Nico Williams. And then De Kuyper there, Estupiñán's gone now. De Kuyper should be first choice. I think he was always bought to be first choice. His goal threat is insane. De Kuyper definitely should be on our radars, regardless of bench boost. But again, the fixtures are nice early, and there's some good rotation patterns between these 5 defenders. You could carry O'Brien, Gvardiol, and Aina pretty much as your first 3, and with De Kuyper coming in for O'Brien or Aina when needed, when fixtures are tough. And then you've got your 5th defender, 4 million, not wasting money on the bench for future weeks. And that's key with a bench boost. I think you need 4 million fodder in your 11, and you get that with a Sunderland guy versus West Ham. Or a Leeds player, 4 million Leeds defender, of course, could work as well, but I've got Darlow there. We'll talk midfielders. We'll talk forwards, and this is a different looking team to most. If you're bench boosting, the shape is different. Guys, I am replying to all comments on this video. So if you've got a question about your team, about bench boost, all of that jazz, drop a comment and I'll reply. And yeah, really appreciate the love. I'm touched by the amount of new subscribers. So thank you for hitting the button. And yeah, I'm planning almost daily content. So hit the notification bell, and I'm going to do some lives and, as always, interact with you guys as well. Midfielders, Mo Salah's still in. Like, this isn't like anything radical where you go, Salah leaves the team. We don't need to talk about why Salah's in. But this is where it gets interesting. Reinders is a controversial pick, knowing I've said you need players that you know are going to be starters. Did really well in the Club World Cup. I don't think he's been bought to play anywhere but the starting 11. He complements Rodri very well. In the Club World Cup, we saw the chemistry between the two. One goes, one sits. They can both play deep. They can both play, Reinders especially, box-to-box number 10. In the AC Milan jersey last season, he got like double digits with goals. Like, he had his best season last year in terms of goal threat, but he can do the number 10. I think at City he'll be an 8. I think at times Rodri will be given license, but if that partnership sticks, you get a 5.5 Man City midfielder that will get recoveries as well. I quite like it. Now, I need to see pre-season if he's getting the minutes and if we think he's going to start game week 1. But if we think he is, and I think he is, he's a class player. He's better than Kovacic. He's better than Gundogan in the middle. He's better than Bernardo Silva when he plays in that role. I think for Rodri, Rangers is the perfect match. And I think he's going to be an underrated pick. Whether I bench boost or not, I'm genuinely looking at him and I want that Man City coverage. He's 5.5 million. Before you all judge me and go massive error here, just remember he's 5.5 million. There aren't many, right? Speaking of 5.5 million, Adingra, West Ham United at home, game week 1. It's bench fodder moving forward. And again, a bench of Adingra, Rangers, and Ronaldo, the Sunderland fullback, that works, right? Rangers will mostly be sub 1. Or Adingra will be sub 1. And I like Adingra for that fixture game week 1. I think he's going to be awesome. His output at Brighton was sensational. Sunderland are spending money. I think at home, they'll be quite good. I think on the road, they'll really struggle. And best 6.5 million mid. I like Ismail Sarr. I like Kudus. I like Enzo Fernandez. There's a lot of 6.5s, but I think Ndai could be the best. Penalties, 90 minutes. Talisman, probably. Like Everton's best player in a front 3. I think he's a really, really good pick and good game week 1 fixture there against Leeds. And then a guy that no one's talking about. Everyone's got Palmer, or they've got Florian Wirtz. They've got Watkins or Isak. That's at a similar price point in up front. But Bukayo Saka, if you're bench boosting, I think is a really, really different pick. Because if you're bench boosting, I think you're probably wildcarding early. And if you're wildcarding early, I think you can go Saka. I really do. I like Saka's fixtures in... 1 is fine, United. It's fine. Don't see that as a tough fixture anymore. It's fine. It's not easy, but it's not tough. But game week 2, you get Leeds. And I think you've got to really jump on that. Leeds at home for Saka is an awesome, awesome fixture. And very few will have him. That will be a benefit of being able to wildcard game week 1. You can have bench boost. Bench boost, you can have Saka in your team. And the reason you can have Saka is you don't have, what many have, is Florian Wirtz. So many will have Florian Wirtz and Mo Salah. And I understand why. Like, they're both awesome picks. But if you look at the early fixtures, just the early fixtures, they're not amazing for Liverpool. Like, Liverpool's great fixtures come in 4 and 5. They've got 2 good games. But Bournemouth, Newcastle, Arsenal is a hard, tough 3. They're right at the bottom of the ticker. So I think you go Saka over Wirtz for the first 3. I mean, they play each other in 3, which isn't ideal, but certainly for the first 2, that is a play. Obviously, you've got to find a little bit of extra money. That's the only issue with that one. Let me know what your thoughts on Saka are, guys. But I do think it could work quite nicely, especially if you've got a wild card in mind. Let's see. Again, maybe Saka becomes a different Arsenal attacker. That's where I'm at with the midfielders. The forwards are interesting as well. I want to talk about some popular names in that front line. Now, one very, very popular name. In fact, I think he's been the most popular pick in the game. Yeah, can you guess him? You got it. Joao Pedro. 58% ownership at the time of recording. That is huge, but I think he's going to be in I think it's going to dip a little bit. I think he's probably going to be in like 50% of teams. I don't think he'll be in as many as 60. At the moment, he's flavour of the month because of what we saw in the Club World Cup. As soon as pre-season starts, if Strand Larsen goes and bags 10 goals or Dom Solanke does, then they might replace someone like a Joao Pedro in many teams. But he's got the fixtures. We know he's starting game week 1. Again, if you're looking at an early wild card, the early fixtures for Joao Pedro are brilliant. And we know he's starting game week 1 because I can't see Delap starting at Palace. I think it will be Joao Pedro. And Jackson obviously suspended. So Joao Pedro does feature in this team, as you would expect. But so does Dom Solanke, and then we're going to talk about another player I don't think enough people are talking about in Ollie Watkins. But Dom Solanke, if you don't have Kudus, I think you need Solanke. And that is a combination for many, right? It's, I want a Spurs attacker, I need to get Solanke or Kudus. I want a Chelsea attacker. If I don't have Palmer, I can get Joao Pedro. And I think big chance Brentford become big chance Spurs. I've said it a lot pre-season. Thomas Frank teams do this. They create big chances. Solanke will be the best beneficiary. 7.5 million's fine. I was kind of hoping it'd be 7. I still think 7.5 million is good. If you are considering, by the way, Manscaped, remember that QR code's on screen. Just go and have a look on the website. Watkins at 9 million. Also a good price point. I like those early season fixtures for Aston Villa. I think they're a little bit underrated. And when we look at the most expensive players in the game, obviously Ollie Watkins does feature. There are only two more forwards that are more expensive than him, Isak and Haaland. By having Ollie Watkins and a little bit more money in attack, by say another 7.5 million forward, or a 6.5 Danny Welbeck, or a 6.5 Strand Larsen, getting to an Isak or Haaland, if you need to, is going to need 2, maybe 3 moves. Watkins can be a placeholder. You probably still need 2 moves, but it will be a little less surgery if you go from Watkins to Isak than Welbeck to Isak, right? So bear that in mind. I also like the fixtures for Ollie Watkins. Again, I think a little bit underrated. I don't know why not many people aren't looking at Aston Villa, but I fancy them to start the season well. And when we look at the first 3 games, Newcastle is at home, and I think Newcastle can be vulnerable at the back, especially at the start of last season. I think we saw that in terms of the expected goals conceded. But then Aston Villa, they've got Brentford away, Ollie Watkins' old club, and Brentford, I think, could be in trouble this year. Losing Thomas Frank and all of the back room, losing Visser and Mbeumo, losing their goalkeeper. Yeah, I think Watkins versus Villa. And then Crystal Palace, again, it's another home fixture. 2 of the first 3 are at home. So do consider that when you're looking at players like Ollie Watkins. So look, I think this team looks pretty useful. And in summary, I think the bench boost is certainly worth consideration. To recap, as I mentioned at the top of the show, there are loads of positives and negatives, but the key is 70% of people are open to it. And that could gain momentum and go even higher. But also, the main benefits are there. There are disadvantages. You might not be able to follow a strategy everyone's doing because a lot of people might save it. You might not be able to... You might not be able to get 15 out because there might be a surprise benching. You've got to be sure on your starters if you're going with it. And maybe players like Reinders are a little bit too risky. If you enjoyed the video, guys, hit the buttons. I'll see you for another video in 24 hours' time.